Hello everyone, back here in Elden Ring, and this time I want to talk to you about that slightly intimidating skill for a lot of players, even experienced players, and I'm obviously talking about parrying. So what is parrying? Parrying is actually deflecting an incoming enemy's attack with perfect timing, and if done correctly, that enemy will fall to the ground and you'll be able to carry out a critical hit. So it's done, in my case, on the PS5 with L2, and I'm doing it with a shield. Just make sure that whatever shield you're using is equipped with the parry skill. And the idea is that you deflect incoming attack within the perfect parry window and you carry it out correctly. So why is parrying quite tricky? So the reason I used to struggle with it is because I thought of parrying as actually something that was much quicker and more responsive than it actually is. And I think it's because I was comparing it to blocking. So if you look at the block animation, super quick, super fast. So I was actually pressing the parry button when an enemy's attack was literally about to land on my character. And what I was finding was that that was actually too late. I wasn't parrying any of the attacks, I was just getting hit. So I always had to train myself to press the parry button much earlier than I naturally wanted to. So it's a bit strange because it was almost going against my own intuition and my own kind of internal timing almost of it. But it kind of makes sense when you look at the animation. So as I said, blocking is very quick, but parrying, you can see there's a bit of a delay. The arm goes up and only then it swipes away. So the window of opportunity I want you to concentrate on is to actually land a perfect parry. You need to do it at a point that an enemy has got their arm or limb raised and it's actually traveling towards you to land the hit. That's the window of opportunity when you need to press L2 and you'll carry out a perfect parry. If you press it when the enemy's arm is raised, that's too early. If you press it when the hit is about to make contact with your character, that's too late. You need to work with that space in between. And the perfect enemy animation to practice that with is the classic kind of enemy attack that a lot of characters have in Elden Ring, where they'll raise one of their arms, hold it for a split second, and then they'll try and land a hit on you. That's the perfect attack animation for you to practice your parrying on. So what I would encourage as well is to use something like this shield. So this is called the buckler. And even though it's small, as you can see on the left, it's got a special skill called the buckler parry. And it's actually a faster parry than other shields. And the reason this suits me and may suit you is because, as I said earlier, I was expecting parrying to be much quicker. So anything that kind of increases a bit of the speed suited me down to the ground. The buckler also has a wider parry window, so it's a bit more forgiving in terms of the timing. So again, it's perfect for kind of beginners and newcomers to parrying, or if you just want something that's a bit faster and a bit more responsive. The other thing to remember is that you can only parry single-handed attacks. So if an enemy is double-handing the weapon, you can't parry that. So just don't even bother trying. So I'm going to try it with one of these big enemies over here, using only parries and critical hits once we stun them with the parry. And I'll try and point out the enemy attacks, which I think are great in terms of kind of practicing your parries and getting used to the timing, because that's what it is about, all about timing. So try and get this enemy to come out of all this kind of environmental stuff and come to fight us over here. We don't want to engage the other enemy. So, okay, here we go. That's the one. That's the perfect animation you want to practice on. A lot of enemies do that. Ignore the kick. It's a jump. I thought he was going to attack then. Do that one as well. That was with his other arm. So it got a good wind up. It's telegraphed. That's a grab attack, so we don't bother with that. Double-handed, we ignore that one either. Or ignore that one as well. Can't do the kick. I missed the first one, that should have been a parry. You did it second time round there. There we go. Those are the attacks you want to practice on. Double-handed again, ignore that one. Grab attack, ignore that one too. That's the one. Repetition, just keep on doing it, don't give up. And each time we carry out a critical. And then you get used to kind of what each enemy does. Some enemies obviously have faster attacks, some enemies have slower attacks, but it's just getting used to it and repetition. Don't forget that this mechanic is open to you for bosses as well, so even if you have a tiny shield like this and you're fighting a massive boss, you can still parry their attacks, and parry them enough, it'll open them up again for a critical hit. So it's not something that you have to do in Elden Ring. You can enjoy the game, finish the game without having to parry once. But the reason it's useful to have this skill, or at least to be able to get used to it, is because there's actually some enemies in the game which can be a bit tricky to defeat in normal means. If you actually use parrying on them, they become quite trivial. So you'd be surprised as to what it can unlock for you. So yes, just keep on practicing, keep on giving it a go, and see how you get on. But just remember, it is something that you can get used to. Don't see it as something which is insurmountable and completely out of your reach, because it really isn't. So thanks again for watching, and catch you all very soon.